But of course, the possibilities don't stop there. If you'd like to keep exploring more of these possibilities for yourself, we've got some resources that we'd recommend here. But first, one of the things that we've been working on with our partners at Riveron is around a digital transformation workshop. And if you'd like to explore a proven methodology on how to get started, this is a fantastic tool. So Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And the easiest way, I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to be a little quick. So if there is information that you'd like to request, reach out to Mike, Travis, Arlen, myself, anybody on this. We've all gone through our workshops. And so the most important thing is while they're listening to, yourself, Mike, talking, everybody, how do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? How do I get to the point where, Travis was clicking a million miles an hour and he's like, oh my God, this is so easy. But there is a part of this that says, hey, wait a minute, we really got to understand and learn and know what we're doing by some industry experts. And so what Riveron does is it offers you a 3-day workshop to build what your ROI, build what your pilots look like, and really start to develop what your digitization strategy should look like. So it's a great tool. Microsoft and Ignition are both unbelievable partners for Riveron, and it is the easiest first step.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Yes, I'd agree. If there's interest, definitely reach out to me. And you can see here we've got some other helpful documentation based off of the things we talked about today and some of the links I mentioned. And also Inductive Automation has great resources to share with you as well. So I'll hand it back to Travis to tell you about those.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, guys. All of these links, the PowerPoint, everything will be available. The recording of this will be available as well, so that you guys can go and explore all of these great resources from the Azure site, as well as, of course, from Inductive Automation. We have a resource on the Ignition Exchange that basically has a lot of UDT definitions built out that we saw in the demo here today that Arlen showed, like the extruder, the haul off, the lathe, energy monitoring unit, and more. And so these are just they give examples of some standards that have been out there, kind of where we done enumerations and those that you could take. Of course, you could take that and manipulate it and to make it your own and build your own models as well. There's lots of possibilities out there that you can work with. So in conclusion, we just want everyone watching to know that it is possible to get digital transformation started really quickly. And you could do everything that you saw here today. You could download it and you could do it now. Play around with it. You can get started with Inductive Automation by going to our website, clicking in Download Ignition. For the trial period, you can go to Azure, start a free trial there, get an account so that you can get the IoT Bridge up and running. Very simple to get that up and running from the marketplace, and ultimately have data flowing from Ignition all the way through. There are some learning resources that we provide for Ignition. There's an online training website called Inductive University. It's very comprehensive, along with the user manual and documentation that you can use anytime. If you're outside North America and you want to learn more, we have a network of international distributors who can provide business development opportunities and sales and technical support in your language and time zone. To learn more about that, visit our website and their websites, and to get some more details. Along, if you'd like to speak with one of our account executives here in North America, you can call our California headquarters. The number is shown on the screen. And so now it's time to get to some of your questions. We've got a few minutes here to that. The first question has come in, and anybody who wants to kind of go and answer will go for it, but was how does security work? You access the PLC with just the IP address, but did you whitelist the computer running Ignition? As well as how does security work in terms of getting that data up into the cloud? So maybe Arlen, do you want to start with that?
Thanks, Travis. The connection to the cloud, again, that's one of the huge advantages of MQTT, is that was an outbound connection with TLS certificates with it. So there's no ports open in the factory at all. It was an outbound connection using MQTT to get from the factory to the cloud location. Now, at the factory floor where Travis was showing you connecting to an Allen Bradley PLC, that was probably an on-premise Ignition gateway that it was already inside the factory. So that was already secure from the standpoint of that. And then again, the outbound security was provided due to the very nature of MQTT and the fact that it uses a TLS secured connection outbound only with no ports open.
And one of the great things that we've seen here is that you could provide edge devices that can add a layer of security for those PLCs. Of course, you could have VLANs and firewalls and security. All this can work through segmented networks if you have DMZ set up, and to really get that data up to high levels, of course, along getting that data to the cloud. And a tangential question to that, security is important, but of course, licensing is important as well. There's a question is, what does licensing model look like for the setup? Looks like Ignition, Azure, and MQTT is needed. So I could start with the Ignition side on the plant floor on premise. You have an Ignition license, whether that is the standard fully unlimited Ignition, or you wanted to have some Ignition edge devices out there close to the PLCs. That's a perpetual license. You would buy that one time. It's unlimited. Connect to your devices, create those models, and you can publish that up using the MQTT transmission module that Searstring provides. So you could just simply buy that license for on-premise. But then I'm gonna throw it over to you, Arlen and Mike, in terms of licensing there for the cloud pieces.
I was going to say, I mean, from the Azure side, right, there's the services you spin up, like Arlen mentioned, within the subscription that you have. So kind of depending on the current infrastructure, maybe if you're using Azure as an organization, it kind of works like the other Azure services when it comes to the consumption metrics based off of the agreement you have with Microsoft.
And from the SiriusLink side, the Azure, the IoT Bridge for Azure is up on the marketplace. It's free for 30 days, and the pricing right now is $900 a month for for unlimited tags and models.
Perfect. It gives people an idea of what this could look like, and honestly, you can get started again all for free. But if you want to start small, I mean, very economical, and can scale up to standardizing across all of your devices at every location you have. We have time for one more question here, and I think this is an important one, which is, we talked about digital transformation, Industry 4.0, and how easy these tools are. It's not just the technology; it's also the buy-in from the organization, from the C-level, from different people that are having to engage in these projects. So how can we get management to buy in for this kind of project, and to get data analytics for these systems? I'll throw it to either of you here.
Yeah, I think the important thing, and this is something Matt can speak to as well, is getting the buy-in on like what we like to say is, think big, start small, go fast. So let's look at a piece of equipment that we can start to look at and model that proves immediate ROI. So that's one of the advantages of the workshop with Riveron, is we help go through that process to help build out what an ROI would look like, and again, kind of with the goal, the largest ROI eventually starts to pay for the project, just based off of what we can see in some metrics that we showed.
And I'll say that I think it is, for a lot of organizations, it will be a little bit of a culture change. In terms of, if you look back with security, it took the entire organization to be committed to security for it to be for processes to be put in place. The same thing's true here. When you look at OT and IT, being committed to those, the challenge that they're trying to solve, and some of the outcomes, and to the ROI that they can get out of this, all the teams have to work together for it to really be, I think, very effective. And going through these workshops and understanding, looking at technologies that are super approachable here, it can give organizations a great kickstart with all of this. And I think you see buy-in happen pretty organically once everybody's involved. So with that, I know there's other questions that in there. Please reach out to us. We can provide some more direct demonstrations on that. But I appreciate all of everybody's time here and joining us today. We'll be back in January for another webinar. And until then, don't miss any of our updates on social media or our weekly newsfeed email. So bye for now. Thanks, everybody, all the speakers here. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next time.